they are doing is not self-love. A narcissist doesn't love anyone else because there is not anyone else besides themselves. A narcissist is keenly aware of who they are and what they need, but only in a separate kind of a way. So you see, a narcissist does not love themselves. Most people think that it's all about self-absorption. Some people think it means excessive self-love, but it really is the inability to feel anything at all. A narcissist does not love themselves. A visit to the one who gives this personality disorder its name might be a helpful place to go. I was in 9th grade when we studied the story of Narcissus in our unit on Greek myths. And I distinctly remember that the lesson boiled down to something like this. Do not love yourself, or you will turn into some kind of a pansy. That was pretty much the teacher's lesson in a nutshell. But you know, my teacher was wrong. And it took me a good long time to figure that out. Why don't we hear the story? There once was a young man named Narcissus. And Narcissus was so beautiful that women and men fell in love with him. And some of them were so in love with him that they pined away till there was nothing left of them. He had scores of young admirers, but he was not interested in any of them. None of them met the expectations that he had. And so he ignored them and paid them no attention. One of his admirers was named Echo. And Echo had been cursed. She was a young, beautiful female nymph, and she had been cursed by the goddess Hera to only be able to repeat back the last words that had been spoken to her. Now that opens a whole nother box about what we do to our young women in American culture. But that is another subject, and we will deal with that another day. But here is Narcissus, this man who people wanted to possess and wanted to hold on to. And when they were rejected by him, some of them became sullen and angry. And in fact, one young admirer even prayed the prayer and said, I hope that he will find the object of his love and never be able to possess it. A goddess was passing by, and she heard this prayer, and she granted the wish. One day Narcissus was hunting in the woods, and he was hot and he was tired, and he stumbled across a spring. It was a spring that was full of beautiful clear water. There was grass growing around the outside. There were no leaves or branches in the water. It was just clean and pure. And he crouched down next to the spring. He was going to lean over for a drink, and when he did, he saw a reflection in the water. And it was a face that was so beautiful that he was shocked. And he stared into the eyes of the reflection, and he fell in love. Narcissus leaned over. He wanted to hold the image. He put his arms out, and he leaned over farther until he fell into the water of the spring, and he drowned. All the nymphs of the forest cried out in mourning. They were so upset at their loss. They built a funeral pyre, but when they came to collect his body, it was gone. It was not there. But next to the spring was a flower. And the flower was gently moving in the breeze. This story is so often misunderstood. See what happens if you love yourself? You die. Don't do that. But what people miss in the story and the way that it ends is the presence of resurrection. Narcissus is reborn. He becomes new. Before his transformation, Narcissus has physical beauty.